What happens when you get famous rapper Ja Rule and scam artist Billy McFarlane together to host an ultra-luxury music festival in the Bahamas? Well, it's called the Fyre Festival, and this is basically what happened.
It's just better in the Bahamas.
Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the Fyre Festival fiasco, which you may have heard of, and you might say, well, oh, that's old news, but actually there's a $100 million lawsuit in the works against the organizers of this event, which we're going to talk about. Plus, there's a lot of valuable lessons to be learned from this event and its poor planning. But before we jump into it, I should dress the part. What the fuck? Now we're ready to talk about this tropical island refugee crisis.
I say refugee crisis because that's exactly what this event ended up looking like. Seriously, you can compare it side by side to actual refugees and it doesn't look too different. And that guy? Yeah, that's the main organizer. His name is Billy McFarlane, and this isn't the first time he's tried to scam some young, rich, white kids. You see, he was the mastermind behind an extremely expensive credit card called Magnesis, which actually did absolutely nothing for the customer, other than completely rip them off if they were naive enough to buy it.
Now, I don't know how Mr. Billy McFarlane here convinced Ja Rule and other celebrities that this was going to be a legitimate event, but they clearly all bought into it. This was hyped up as being like Coachella 2.0, as in being even more pretentious and expensive. And boy did that backfire, because all these celebrities are looking like complete idiots for hyping this up. You see, this music festival was promoted as being a premium luxury experience for millennials, with prices starting at around $4,000 to $8,000 and then going up to potentially $250,000. Yeah, premium indeed. So what could all the hype be about? Well, there was an impressive lineup. I mean, I guess impressive if you're like into sort of mainstream pop and, rap type music. Anyways, you had artists like Blink 182, Lil Yachty, Migos, Major Lazer, and Thug Fucker. The type of music that you'll find on your average rich white kid's playlist, presumably.
But it wasn't just music. In the promotional trailer, the Fyre Festival was touted as bringing the best in food, art, music, and adventure. Well, as it turns out, none of the music really happened, with Blink 182 and others pulling out after realizing that they too might end up stranded on an island with an angry mob of white kids. The top quality food turned out to be some Kraft cheese, dry lettuce, and a couple slices of bread, putting it at roughly the same quality of your standard Lunchables meal. Definitely not worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now, as for the art, I would argue this actually did come to fruition. You see, the images of the camp we got back from people on the island actually do resemble some post-apocalyptic modern art. So, good on them for at least delivering on one of their promises, I guess.
Now, aside from this overproduced generic promo on Fyre's own YouTube channel, there was this hilarious article from Bustle.com titled 11 Things You Need to Know About the Fyre Festival Because It's Unlike Any Music Event You've Ever Attended. And well, they're not wrong. This ironic list includes things like, it's not just a festival, it's a vacation, and Fyre has a colorful history. And it does, because as the promo trailer also pointed out, this island was previously owned by Pablo Escobar. Because nothing makes me want to go to a remote island more so than knowing that a fucking murderous drug kingpin once owned it. Yeah, pretty much just let that set the tone for how the rest of this festival experience pretty much went down. And remember those incredibly expensive package deals that cost upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yeah, well, apparently the top reward was being a VIP, which includes the benefits of meeting artists. Number 6 on this list stated that the lodging is a dream come true. However, lodging implies insulation and comfort. not fucking disaster relief tents sprung up on an island, which is what they got. Another selling point of this list was that Bella Hadid, who's like a model or something, guest starred in the music festival's promo video. But at this point, that's just another mark against her because, well, we all know how this festival turned out, and I would say her name is now just tarnished because of it. Let's see, and this one's my favorite. There's going to be top-notch food. Oh, yeah, top-notch food. Right. And finally, you don't have to be a music junkie to enjoy this festival. No, you don't need to be a music junkie. You just need to have tens of thousands of dollars of disposable income and be incredibly naive to buy into this. Because, as far as I'm aware, a lot of the details of flights and accommodations were actually not provided at all to the guests. They kind of just went in blindly. As you might imagine, the fact that most of these things turned out to be lies didn't really bode well with the guests. Across Twitter and social media, many festival goers reported on the desperate situation. Some even reached out to the US Embassy for help with shelter and food, which kind of speaks volumes in and of itself. And then apparently people's phones were running out of battery because there wasn't a place to charge them on the island. And honestly, at this point, this whole situation started to look like a post-apocalyptic Dead Island or 28 Days Later type situation. Most of these tweets look like they're coming out of a fucking war zone. Seriously, look at this tweet for example. Apparently the luggage was brought down in a shipping container at night. Tell me this doesn't look like a fucking scene out of World War Z.
Fyre Festival's solution to all of this was to lock the attendees inside of a room with a giant chain on the door while they waited for planes to take them off the island. I've heard this was done to try and avoid lawsuits because it can be shown that the organizers were taking care of the guests. I don't think that's going to save them in court though. With a situation as absurd as this, the lulls definitely ensued as a lot of trolls from 4chan and elsewhere started adding to the hysteria. The Reddit page for the Fyre Festival is filled with hilarious memes and threads mocking the situation, as well as some serious threads from actual attendees, but mostly just memes.
Again, all over social media, people were talking about this, be it actual outrage or trolling or both. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the highlights. There were personal reports of just how ill-prepared the staff on the island was, including the lack of an actual medical team apparently. And according to this guy, included in that VIP package was syrup for their waffles. And the guy next to him does not look too happy about that. VIP war when? Yeah, that's pretty much where this is headed. I don't think this next tweet is real, but nonetheless, it's pretty hilarious. As compensation for any ill will caused by Fyre Festival, official staff has announced all attendees will get an extra hour in the ball pit. Given the circumstances, this wouldn't surprise me. As a follow-up, this image was posted on the subreddit. Never forget, indeed. There were even some fan-made posters of other potentially similar events, like Nuke Festival off the coast of North Korea, and Woodstock on a familiar island in Norway. There was even this fake tweet by Ja Rule explaining that this was all a social experiment to prove that millennials don't understand the struggles of other cultures. And honestly, if this were actually the truth, it would be pretty damn genius, albeit probably highly illegal. In reality though, this was Ja Rule's actual statement in which he claimed that they were trying to sort things out, and they ultimately sort of did, as everyone did get flown off the island, but the mess does not end there. Because now there are talks of a $100 million class action lawsuit against the organizers. And rightfully so. Again, after doing just a bit of research on this Billy McFarlane character, this was not the first time that he tried to pull a scam like this. And if there is no punishment, who's to say that he won't just try it again? In fact, apparently, he was planning on doing exactly that with the Fyre Festival. Go fucking figure. This event was hyped up by celebrities and promoters as being like the next Coachella, being this luxury music festival, but instead, what guests got was essentially a real-life enactment of the TV series Lost. And look, I feel bad for these guests. They didn't deserve this. No one does. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little bit of schadenfreude to be had in this situation. I mean, if you're forking over tens of thousands of dollars for an event like this, you should do some research into what exactly you're signing up for. That being said, it does seem like Billy McFarlane here is being dealt some poetic justice. You see, after multiple scams targeting the millennial demographic, Billy McFarlane seems to have dug his own grave here. I imagine most of these rich white kids have access to some good lawyers, and they're planning to sue the shit out of this guy. I guess you could say Billy was playing with fire.